President Trump putting America first front and center during a rousing commencement address at the U.S. Naval Academy graduation. And this comes as more new developments unfold over the North Korea summit. But before we get to that, let's hear the president's message to the class of 2018, stressing the importance of our military's might.
We are witnessing the great reawakening of the American spirit and of American might. We have rediscovered our identity, regained our stride, and we're proud again. Yes, they're respecting us again. Yes, America is back. The best way to prevent war is to be fully prepared for war. If a fight must come, there is no other alternative. Victory, winning, beautiful words. To the class of 2018, I do say strive for excellence. Live for adventure. Think big, dream bigger. Push further, sail faster, fly higher, and never, ever stop reaching for greatness.
And meanwhile, the president is leaving the door open to rescheduling the canceled summit with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. This after the rogue regime says they're still willing to meet with Trump at any time.
We're going to see what happens. We're talking to them now. It was a very nice statement they put out. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It could even be the 12th. We're talking to them now. They very much want to do it. We'd like to do it. We're going to see what happens.
Okay, Greg, so giving a rousing speech, were you prepared for that? You seem stunned.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what I should talk about. Should I talk about North Korea or that amazing commencement speech? Finally, a commencement speech for the rest of America. I'll talk about that. The interesting thing about Trump is that he's speaking a language that everyone around the world understands, including our adversaries. So when he says stuff that is conveying America first and we're back and we're great, it's kind of meant for Russia. It's meant for China. It's meant for It's meant for everybody who actually understands it. And I know that it works because it upsets the elites who prefer the flaccid lexicon of the typical political platitudes that he doesn't traffic in. So I think the rest of the world gets it, even if Morning Joe doesn't. And he's hijacked the bullhorn. He's like, before Hollywood was what transmitted our values around the world. And it seems like he's kind of taken the bullhorn and says, no, my turn.
Okay, there you go. All right. And Gutfeld show gets it. Kennedy show gets it. Watersfeld show gets it. Just not Morning Show. All right, so what do you think about this? A great speech.
Yes.
America first. Very rousing. Was well received.
Very well received. Apparently, he spent hours afterwards shaking hands with all the cadets. He really, really loves these people in uniform. He has a special relationship with the U.S. military. He's funding them to heights that we've never seen before to build faster planes and faster ships and more massive nuclear warheads, Juan. So the American military is back. He recognizes it. And I think it's nice for the country to see a president who 100% supports the men and women in the military. And he said something which was very smart. You want to build the military up so strongly that you never have to use it. And I think that's the message there. When it comes to North Korea, it's classic, like you said yesterday, art of the deal. He's moving, he's shaking, he's zigging, he's zagging, and the whole time the peanut gallery is trying to throw spitballs at him. And just wait 24 hours, and North Korea comes begging back to the table. And it looks like they're more desperate to sit down with the president than he is to sit down with them. So he clearly has the upper hand. And like we said, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens in Singapore.
All right, there you go. Kennedy, hello.
Hi there. It's a really funny contrast with Hillary Clinton because these are two vastly different speeches. And this may be the only high-profile speech a conservative gives at a college commencement this year. And, of course, at the military academy at Annapolis, the president is not going to be heckled. And that also has to be refreshing. It is a hand-picked venue and a receptive audience. But these speeches are so different because Hillary Clinton just a week ago at Yale was screeching to a very bored audience, "I'm still not over it." And the president is able to give a more forward-looking speech, whether or not you agree with some of the principles that he addresses and talks about. And yes, you're absolutely right. Instead of talking about himself and a painful loss and reliving Groundhog Day every single day, he is telegraphing to North Korea and Russia and China, and also gets to talk a little bit about his agenda. So, I didn't think we were going to be talking at all this year about a commencement speech that wasn't completely bubble wrapped in groupthink. And for that, it is somewhat refreshing.
You know, a lot of people enjoyed this one. I hope you did too.
No. You know what was interesting to me is to come and listen to you guys, and there were protesters outside, a couple of protesters, I don't think a whole lot, but people standing there.
Those are for you, Juan.
Okay, and then inside, the kids were pretty respectful, but that was about it. But you guys call it rousing. I'm interested. But let me just say, this speech was about America first. It was wrapped in patriotism. He wrapped himself in the flag. He wrapped himself in the military. I think that's, Jesse, why he spent time. He wants them and their stamp of approval and their high approval ratings among the American people to transfer to him. But when you think about...
he's giving a rousing patriotic speech because he wants to boost his approval ratings?
Yes.
Maybe he's just proud of the country and wants to address the cadets.
No, because let's look at the substance of it. When he talks about, we're going to make the military stronger and all that. Wait a minute. Our military is the strongest in the world.
And we're going to make it even stronger.
When he suggests that somehow, somebody didn't believe in them. Who didn't believe in the military? Obama, Bush, Clinton. Who didn't believe in the military?
Last president didn't fund it fully.
Oh, please.
He's right. It was underfunded under President Obama, the Nobel Peace Prize guy. But every day he was in office, we were at war.
Let me just tell you something. That is an echo in the conservative chamber. But the fact is, we have a military that is funded at 20. I think the top 20 other militaries in the world don't have as much funding as our military.
Okay,
That's just a fact.
Can I just say this? But Juan, let me agree with you on something. I do think that we spend an awful lot of money on the military, and I do think when we talk about responsible stewardship, there are ways that we could look at cutting costs in the military without making our country less safe and without compromising our patriotism and the debt of gratitude that we owe to men and women who wear the uniform. But also, being supportive of the military doesn't just mean writing them a blank check.
I agree.
But also, can I just respond to Juan? When you question somebody's patriotism, that means you can read their mind. If somebody's actually expressing a love for a country, you can say, oh, that's just, he's trying to play to this audience. But you don't know that. You don't know that. Right. So what you're doing is, it's not an argument to say that you're claiming that you can read his mind.
I did not.
Yes, you did. You basically said it was all an act. He was wrapping himself in the flag.
Himself in the flag.
I mean, maybe he loves America. But you're reading his mind when you're saying, oh, he's rapping. You're basically saying, I know what he's really doing.
No, Greg, I listened to the speech. The man is talking America first.
Right.
He's saying no more apologies.
Right.
He's saying we are going to look out for America first. And how does this hurt around the world? It's not mind reading, it's listening.
Okay,
and what he said was,
you're interpreting.
How is that as offensive as the Access Hollywood tape?
Let me speak. Okay, so what did the rest of the world hear? Oh, America's interests are no longer America as a global leader. He's retrenching. He's pulling back. He's saying we're going to look out for our interests first, and somehow missing the idea that America is supposed to be a world leader.
He's president of the United States of America.
Yes.
He's not president of North Korea or Taiwan. Right.
But we are involved there because we have interest in Asia.
Totally. But why can't he look at America first and say, what can I do to improve the conditions every day of hardworking men and women, of the military that serve valiantly, by making sure that they're taken care of, by making improvements in the VA, looking inward to be able to figure out things and make it better for everybody across the country, makes us stronger, better as a nation, and better able to serve.
But isn't that one of the arguments of the anti-war left? That President Trump has embraced, that we have spent so much money overseas. We have needlessly spent trillions of dollars in the Middle East. Why shouldn't we be investing it here? That's something that you would hear Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders say.
I agree.
The president is essentially saying that you can't have it both ways.
No, what he is saying to the world is, I'm going to pull out of agreements like the Iran deal or the climate deal or the Asia deal in terms of markets, because I'm going to renegotiate. I'm a deal maker. And I'm going to create some chaos here. But what did the rest of the world hear? Gee, you're no longer part of our effort. and the United States is ceding its role as a world leader, which is, to me,
Last
sad.
time I checked, we're still number one, Juan.
In what?
And in everything.
Everything.
And if you want to be America last, that's fine. Do your thing.
Nobody's saying
this is
that.
an America first
Oh, my
strategy,
gosh.
and we have not left our allies behind
Oh,
because we
I
just
see.
rallied a coalition in Asia. We rallied a coalition in Syria. We just got unanimous council support for the UN over North Korea. There's a lot of things we're doing leading the world instead of going along to get along like other presidents.
Is that like printing those coins that have Trump and Kim on them for the big
He's a
summit?
big investor.
Yes, I
He's
am.
going to be laughing all the way to the bank.
You want one of
I
those
mean,
ones.
You're buying them up?
You brought
Greg, that's a lot.
you brought up two deals that were, that were correct decisions. If you talk about the climate deal, it would have cost $100 trillion over a century. So it was good to pull out of that. Iran, we know that Ben Rhodes was so bad he had to lie about this deal to America.
Right.
We now know it's bad. The third thing that's going on right now is North Korea. People are acting like, oh my God, this is shocking. This is shocking that he canceled at first. It's like, you must be shocked by the sunrise. This is how negotiations go. And what's interesting to me is seeing the media kind of happy if world peace might hit a snag because they dislike Trump so much. To them, Trump is not a president. He's your he's your ex that you're bitter about.
Yeah.
So if your ex suddenly discovers a cure for a disease, you can't be happy, even though it solves a huge problem because he's your ex.
Oh, that's very childish. Can't do that. Have to be happy when the disease is cured.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Jesse, one more thing? No?
I mean, I was just going to say, in terms of allies, President Obama left the Iraqis behind. He left the Ukrainians behind and the Israelis behind.
yeah.
So if you want to talk
Check
about
out-
alliances, didn't do too well the last
Did you notice
8
who
years.
just won the election in Iraq?
What about Libya?
Who's that?
An anti-American cleric.
Well, maybe your guy shouldn't have pulled out precipitously.
No. How about that? Huh? You know, this is the thing.
that.
If I'm going to get you a subscription to a newspaper, I really am. That's going to. Okay.